Hey, what's up, everyone? Dragging back again with another edition of the KAIJU commentary, and today we are watching 1968's Gamera vs. Viras. Now, when you see the DIE logo appear on your screen, that is your cue to start listening to us. So we're going to kick things off in three, two, one. Hello! Welcome to another edition of the KAIJU commentary. Today we are watching Gamera vs. Viras.
First,
You really are going to do that every time now.
first.
Now, for any of you who have been following the Gamera franchise up to this point, you'll know that this is the point where, basically at this point, Dai is like, all right, we are a full-on kid mode. Gone are the days where we were perhaps treating Gamera as a more serious kaiju, and now he's kind of going to be a full-on superhero for kids. Gamera versus Gauss is really kind of the turning point, but this film really just solidifies that whole kind of feel. Which, depending on what you like, that's could be a good thing or a bad thing. This movie, along with those that follow, are certainly interesting, if nothing else.
It's an interesting setup. The party lounge.
Looks like a weird, hipster, lamp chandelier thing.
I know. I like how you said hipster.
Well, it would be something a hipster would have. Like, you could see, at a
Not necessarily.
super hipster coffee bar that would have that hanging up over it. And be like, what the hell is that? And you'd be treated like an idiot for not knowing what that is.
Oh my god, what is that? What is that?
So already establishing that Gamera is a kind of fixed thing in this universe now, much like the Godzilla films do from Toho, where they don't really need to explain Godzilla anymore, and they don't always need even explain which films that the particular film you're watching now is in continuity with. It's just like, yep, Godzilla's real, and that's it. Much like now how it is with Gamera. Gamera's real.
Gamera is kind of being a jerk right here.
Well, he is like now the guardian of the Earth, basically. So, kind of showing that okay, anytime any kind of threat, both local or from abroad, comes, Gamera automatically kind of goes into attack dog mode, which is kind of a cool concept.
There's something very funny about that to me. It's like he's sleeping and he's just trying to,
I like how it shows what he looks like, inside the shell a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, he battering rammed it. He's like, why wasn't I invited to the party? I can talk real good.
I love what Gamera's just murdering. Again, I've said it before in the other commentaries, but despite these movies being for kids, they are really violent. Like Gamera and the other kaiju, legit just dish out murder.
To be fair, they did fuck up his jets.
But here's what I want to know. There's no atmosphere or oxygen in space, so.
You know what? It looks cool. So.
Well, again, I could understand maybe seeing the glow of light kind of from his back, leg sockets, whatever you call them. But to see the full on flame, you really wouldn't. It would just be you would see the initial glow, but there wouldn't be a lapping flame behind him. I'm really shocked that Dai didn't consult physicists and whatnot about this.
How dare they?
How is he breathing fire in space?
He's special.
I mean,
maybe it's special space fire. Okay.
Maybe it's in our atmosphere kind of already. But yeah, see right here, they're basically saying that yes, there is a creature protecting Earth, so it's setting up right away that.
Space monster Viras.
And here we go.
No.
The Gamera song. Gamera and his legion of children cult, it's like a child cult that he has. Except they're kind of right, because what's the thing with the cults? Like, we all gotta drink the special suicide punch so the spaceship will pick us up and take us to Planet X or whatever. Well, in this case, they're kind of right. You got Gamera, so it's kind of like, well, maybe you will.
Ram them with their whirling jets.
Anything, no matter how upbeat sounding, sung by, like, a choir of children is automatically just...
creepy?
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, this is a very happy, upbeat, joyful song. And it just feels like a prelude to mass genocide to me. I don't know. It just... When I hear kids all singing together, I'm like, that is the creepiest thing ever. And I listen to bands like Dying Fetus and Morbid Angel and Cattle Decapitation. And yet none of that, in my opinion, compares to, like, the fright factor of, like, a children's choir.
Somebody shut up these Boy Scouts. Or shut these Boy Scouts up, I should say.
Wow. Somebody shot these Boy Scouts. Well, this movie got dark.
I said somebody shut up these Boy Scouts. Shoot up.
I thought he said, like, somebody shot these Boy Scouts. I was like...
No.
Is Gamera on the case now? Gamera's gonna be like Liam Neeson or whatever.
No.
And a lot of these movies, too... Yeah, let's make it even more creepy and have them be Boy Scouts. This is just wrong on so many levels. Anyway, but yeah, you're starting to notice there's Westerners in all these films too, and I noticed a lot of the Gamera films, kind of there's this point there's like a Westerner. Later films have like Western children in them, and I've always wondered if it was maybe kind of an attempt to maybe market these films more abroad, because these films were being, like the Godzilla films, they were being sold abroad to, Western audiences. Obviously, they were dubbed in English and what have you. And a lot of them went through certain kind of re-edits. Most of them just got trimmed down. Yeah, here you go. There's some white kids right there. So I think this is, because Dai didn't have maybe necessarily the same prestige, if you will, as like Toho. Obviously, their effects budget wasn't as big. Gamera himself, while being very well known amongst the kaiju fandom, is not quite the household name to the kind of general audiences like Godzilla is. Regardless if people know who Godzilla really is or not as a character, everyone has heard of Godzilla. Not everyone has heard of Gamera. So I feel this is perhaps an attempt by Dai to kind of, maybe get this in front of more eyes, in the Western world by, hey, putting Western kids in the movie. At least that's my theory.
Maintenance is done. Let's leave this completely, unguarded and open.
Hey, Japan is a safe country, man. They use the honor system, and it works. Like,
I know.
I see, when we went over there, I saw stuff like, my God, if this was like L.A. or New York, it's like, this would be such a bad idea. But there, it's like, yeah. And my thinking that was probably, I was probably the only one there actually even thinking that. You know what I mean?
I know, right?
And interestingly enough, unlike like a lot of the Toho films, where they had Western actors who would speak English, and then they were just later dubbed over in Japanese. From as far as I know, a lot of these actors here are speaking Japanese. Like this kid right here, from what I can tell, yeah, he's speaking Japanese. I mean, just looking at kind of what they call like the lip flaps, it looks like it's all matching up. Whereas if you watch something like Frankenstein Conquers the World or War of the Gargantuas, that kind of thing, you can tell the actor when you look at his mouth, he's speaking English, and they're dubbing in Japanese. But no, a little white kid who can speak Japanese, good for them. I'm assuming they didn't redub him over later on.
I like how they think it's funny that they're messing up like the sub.
I know, they're like freaking hijacking this thing, like like hot wiring and whatnot. It's funny because this is supposed to look like super space agey here. They have the little wrist communicator, and the irony is now we have stuff like, I mean, it's a cell phone or a mobile phone, depending on which part of the world you live in, aka everywhere except America.
My hat conveniently flew onto the pole.
Little Nathan Drake action right there.
Right.
Okay, it's on point. Look at it. 10 lashings! They're all like tied up. He puts the little like stick in his mouth. Bite down on this, son.
Jesus.
It'll help. Yay, let's all go discriminate. Nothing against any of you who are in the Boy Scouts, but I'm just saying some of the politics surrounding the Boy Scouts are less than progressive. That's all. I'll leave it at that, but. But again, even use something like that, like Boy Scouts, and I'm assuming like Girl Scouts there or whatever. You know, right away you're putting it in a position where there's going to be a lot of kids, and kind of make them the focal point of the movie. So you know, this is already again a big difference between.
They are very close.
Yeah, all upon each other. But yeah, this is a difference between Gamera versus Gauss, where in that film it was still adults dealing with an adult problem. There just happened to be a kid there who was granted probably way more access than realistically he should have been. Whereas here, now, they're putting them in a position where, okay, now kids are kind of going to be front and center. I mean, it's clever. Like I said, it's really more of a case of, do you think that the franchise should have shifted to that or not? But if it was, and it did, you know, it's kind of a good way of doing it, you know, writing stories with scenarios where yes, there would be kids at the kind of the center of it.
And then they crash and die. Those children have the guilt for the rest of their lives.
Ah, they're young, they'll bounce back.
I know, right?
I love how the submarine is being controlled by like a normal
I know.
steering wheel. It looks like a freaking steering wheel, like an old Lincoln. Moaning awfully hard right now. I mean, some odd circumstances. Homeboy there couldn't drive. That's. You know, I was thinking of this too. Like, look at the Japanese girls there versus the Japanese boys.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, when you always hear that girl, I mean, I'm assuming they're also supposed to be kind of the same. I can see there's a few maybe kids are something older.
It kind of varies, but.
But as a whole, it's funny. You always hear, like, girls mature faster than boys. Nothing puts that in sharp relief than, like, I mean, some of these girls are, I mean, she I'm assuming they're older, right?
I think they're supposed to be, yeah.
Because these girls are like freaking Amazons compared to most of the boys.
Yeah.
Chatty bitches. So, yes, so your eyes do not deceive you. These adults are letting these two children
I know.
Operate a submersible. You know, because why not, right? Like, that's okay. That's not a lawsuit waiting to happen in any capacity. Here's the thing, and people say, oh, it's like, even if it was like driving a car, here's the thing, realistically, they're still kids. And here's my other thing, too.
a lot of people in Japan, for instance. Sorry if I'm going off on a tangent here, but I feel it bears saying. A lot of people in Japan don't drive.
Yeah.
Because their form of, like public transport is so efficient that unless you're like a cab driver or like a bus driver, or you have to drive for, professional reasons, a lot of people don't drive.
Mm-hmm.
So
don't really need to.
yeah, so they don't. Here you have kids, so for sure they wouldn't know how to drive a car, yet they know how to drive a submarine. Like, it's okay.
They already explained that the kid's a genius and he uses his dad's factory to make shit because he's a smart genius kid. Okay. So...
It doesn't tell me how he knows how to drive a submarine.
He's a genius, okay?
I have a driver's license, and I don't know how to drive a submarine. I mean, I'd like to try.
The power of young boys' friendship is how, okay?
Maybe that was my problem. I never had friends.
Yeah, probably.
I was that kid nobody liked. So, that's why I could never drive a submarine. I didn't have enough friends growing up. See, whenever they do shit like this, I was wondering, like, where is this camera at?
I know.
How are you seeing this? Like,
how deep are these kids going?
I know. Look at this.
Adults just aren't worried. He's driving, not even paying attention.
But see, again, but that's my point, though, too. It's like, right, you can tell this is for kids now because there is such a suspension of disbelief here where it's like, why are these little kids, A, allowed to drive the submarine, B, know how to drive the submarine, and essentially going out into the deep ocean? Well, because wouldn't that be fun to do? And that's kind of the extent of the logic behind it. It's just like, yay. But even that is still a really big jump between, this film and the last. See, I don't care if Gamera saved the world a few times. If you just looked out your window and you saw that, you would shit yourself. Like, don't get me wrong, people. I love kaiju. If I ever saw Godzilla or Gamera or anything like that, remotely like that, rise out of the water, I would literally never have a bowel movement for the rest of my life because everything would just drop right there.
So I'm just like, okay, so Gamera doesn't know your children are there, though. Why not just eat you?
Well, he's fired, remember?
Well, you know what?
As long as they don't set themselves on fire, they have no fear of being eaten by Gamera.
He could just be an asshole. Not even eat them, just bite them, chew them up, maul them.
You want this movie to end, don't you?
No, I'm just saying.
Kill him, Gamera! End our pain. So obviously, yes, I'm assuming it's implying that the other films, well, maybe all the films except the first one where he murdered people, are in canon because they know who Gamera is, they're familiar with him, and they don't seem to be afraid of him in any capacity. But see, look how terrifying that is. He's
his giant bloodshot eye.
I know. It's not like they're looking at Falcor here from the Neverending Story. This is a big, terrifying creature with freaking tusks.
Yeah, we're just gonna go under Gamera. It's no big deal. Let's go. I can drive with one hand. You guys are morons.
Gamera just smacks him. Yes, let's drive at the tusk that's like the size of our damn sub.
And go back under again, because why not? Where did they go?
Gamera looks like he's going to his dark place.
I know.
He's looking down. He's listening to the voices in his head.
All around me are familiar. or rather, hello darkness, my old friend. See? Look at these kids. Because they fucking distracted Gamera, look who's coming to town.
I know, the aliens with their weird hipster chandelier.
With their underwater cameras.
Yep.
So this is just actually really advanced Pokemon catching techniques they have. This is what I'm getting from this.
They're gonna need a big ass Pokeball to hold him.
This ain't no Blastoise.
Well, there you go.
Well, shit.
funny maybe they just cut their air supply too.
I know, right?
Yeah, at least little dude being back there has the right idea. Yeah, great. Too bad for Gamera. What the hell about us?
He's like, God. No.
I will say this, though. You know, a lot of times in kaiju films, the kaiju don't acknowledge necessarily people directly.
Yeah.
You know, especially in Godzilla films. Godzilla rarely has acknowledged kind of individual human beings on the ground. It's happened, but it's rare, and it's always kind of implied to these monsters are just kind of so big and so... See, why can't he just flip it up over himself? I don't get that. But you know what I mean? Like they're so...
Then we wouldn't have a movie.
Yeah, apparently not. But they're so much bigger and kind of removed from us that they really don't notice us and or can really relate to us at any kind of personal level. So it is interesting that Gamera here, being a kaiju, is, you know, acknowledging human beings and responding to them, you know, in a positive light. I think the few times we got that in like Toho films with Mothra mainly.
Yeah.
And even then, Mothra would use the twins, kind of her envoys, because she herself is so big that it's...
Videotron! That explains everything. It's a time-traveling, all-knowing, all-seeing camera.
That kaleidoscope. I used to have that when I was a kid.
Origin story time.
They always do this. But you see, it's kind of pointless to show this because the Gamera that we saw in the first film is so dramatically different that it's almost like, is this really meant to be like the same continuity, so to speak? Because again,
maybe he just learned over time.
Well, I guess it is, because here are all the...
He learned to become a better person.
But it's just strange, because in that first movie, you literally see him like
Murdering
breathing
everyone.
fire and people writhing in agony as they burn to death. Like, and now he's like the friend. And even if Gamera's developed some kind of weird liking for children, which really sounds creepy when I say it out loud, people as a whole wouldn't just accept him because, again, he's killed, you know, a lot of people. Even if it was by accident, it still happened. Oh, the unnecessary flashbacks. I
was gonna say, let's find out his past so we can find his weakness.
Again, they're not even really flashback. They're just showing the entire sequence, and I figure it's kind of a cheap way to have an action sequence by just
showing us the old stuff.
Yeah, it's... But again, Dai had to kind of be more, well, I guess creative is the word we'll use. Because again, they didn't have this...
More frugal?
Yeah, I mean, again, their budgets weren't as lavish, so they kind of, you know... And again, I hate to say it, because I'm not, like, attacking Dai. I don't want people to think that I'm just being a Toho fanboy and, like, you know, just hating on it for the sake of it. But the reality is, you can see it in the quality. You know, it's like, Toho had a lot of money.
Boom!
And I regret that I think some of these early fights, like this film, I mean, you know, they showed Dai working around their more limited budget and, you know, doing some really cool things with the fights.
Yeah.
But, again, the fact that we're basically getting the entire big epic fight sequence from the second film, Gamera vs. Barugon, and you're basically using this as like a big action sequence for Gamera versus Viras. So it's kind of a cheat. It's one thing if they show like a bit of a flashback, you know, some quick shots of this fight, shots of that fight. Mm-hmm. They're literally showing us the whole scene.
That's the thing. At least if they just kept it to a couple flashes of this scene, but the fact that it's the whole thing. It's
a few flashes from the first movie, a few flashes from this film, a few flashes from Gamera versus Gauss, and yeah, okay, that works. They're just literally just lifting that entire sequence from
Well,
Gamera.
the fact that they led up to it saying, "Oh, we have 15 minutes to catch him and figure out his weakness," so I'm like, "Here we go. Here's our 15
I know
minutes."
it really spells it out, and again, it's things like this that always kind of held Dai back, and Gamera as a
I'm
character.
like, "Hey, look, this is where you should have showed it right here.
Some cool,
Like this is where you should have started the scene. Was him using his attack."
Yeah, cut to the flashiest points. And it's just ironic because this is something that would be very much rectified in the 90s with the Gamera trilogy then, which, a lot of kaiju fans considered, like, perhaps one of the best kaiju trilogies or, grouping of films. And a lot of people have even gone on and said that...
So cold.
I know. Where's Chris when we need him?
I know, right?
Don't worry, folks. He'll be back. But yeah, I mean, again, I think that trilogy took a lot of people by surprise in the 90s because unfortunately Gamera had kind of been reduced in the minds of a lot of people as a kind of, I don't want to say a joke because it's not true, but a bit more, but kind of like the butt of a lot of jokes.
Yeah.
And then those films reinvigorated the character, to say the least, and kind of just became, like, went down in history as being some of the greatest kaiju films ever, especially the third one,
Again, just to show this whole little scene right here, I'm like, oh my god.
But the irony is, this is probably the best scene in this movie, because this film even had a bigger budget than the one we're actually really watching. So, you watch this quote-unquote flashback, and then you'll get to the actual monster in this film, and it's almost a bit disappointing, because this looks a lot better.
Yeah.
The jam jelly sequence.
The purple blood. Hey, at least we skipped ahead now.
Yep, now, basically they're showing you the best parts of Gamera versus Barugon.
Yeah.
They're showing you both fights. So, if you only cared about the scenes with him and Barugon in that movie, literally just watch, 15 minutes into Gamera versus Viras, and you'll see him.
Or just go to YouTube. I'm sure there's a compilation.
Compilation?
Yes. You know what? I don't have any excuses. I just don't.
Again, I rewatched this. I'm like, God, this is a really good fight. But
It is, but not as an entire flashback
I know,
sequence.
and it's just like, again, I love Gamera as a character. I really, really do. But unfortunately, ooh.
No
awesome.
bridge is safe.
No. But I hate to say it, but these films very kind of quickly became more like fast food, if you want to use kind of food as an allegory. Because, again, they got really cheap. They cut corners wherever they could, and they apparently could a lot. And again, this entire chunk of the second film is a big piece of this movie. So, I don't know, and it won't be the last time that the Gamera franchise uses stock footage.
Yeah.
For those of you guys who are familiar with the Gamera films, you know exactly which film we're talking about, and oh yeah, we'll get to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And now we're seeing the last film, Gamera vs. Gauss. But I'm wondering if we should maybe put like and it's funny because you're seeing kind of the quality of the suits go down.
I know.
Like, you saw a little bit in the first movie, then you saw the fight with Barugon, and right away when they cut to the Gamera from, this film, you saw the suit looked a lot cheaper already.
Yeah.
Like, you notice it real quick, and it...
Well, it's funny because I think the second one actually looked really good, but this one, compared to the second one, looks crappy.
Well,
I
again,
think it's also like his eyes are bigger and his mouth as a whole looks smaller.
yeah,
It kind of changed the shape of his face, which I liked it better how it looked in the second one.
yeah. I mean, a part of me wonders too if it was done because it was in this film that they started changing it more towards kids, and I'm wondering if they figured, well, if we're gonna make these more kids movies,
Well,
we
he
don't need to
technically
spend
looks-
as much money.
Well, that, and I think he technically looks like a little less scary, I guess.
Well, yeah, and again, that might be by design. I could look at the Godzilla films too by this point.
As he gets his fucking arm sliced off.
Yeah.
So what the fuck, guys?
Well, that's the thing. These films
Mixed
are
messages.
a strange contradiction because on the surface they look very kid friendly, but these movies are violent as hell, and that kind of became like a running gag amongst a lot of kaiju fans with the Gamera films is that they are really violent. Like, I mean, monsters are employing straight up murder in these movies. Like, monsters are not being destroyed; they're being killed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like Discovery Channel, deaths where they're being torn apart, cut apart. Like, I love when Gauch just bitch slaps him. Ah! But yeah, so probably about over 20 minutes of this movie are the older movies you've seen.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm wondering if they basically felt that, well, if we're gearing these films towards children, they're less sophisticated. They're either going to not notice as much or just legit not care.
Yeah.
So maybe it wasn't a matter that they couldn't spend the money, but maybe they just felt like, well,
why bother?
yeah, and which is a shame.
His hand when it was too small. Also, how did he reach it?
Yeah. Again, it's like, how does it... And again, Toho was doing it to a degree too. I don't want, but Toho still was able to put enough money behind it where even if it was becoming more kid-friendly, those films have still become kind of classics in their own right because they're still cool. It's still a lot of fun to watch. I mean, there's enough of a production budget there where you can, mine enjoyment from it. Whereas,
Well, see, here's the thing. Again, like, obviously when you watch the movies, like, these are all cool scenes and junk, but it's the fact that it's like, okay, so this is supposed to be its own movie, but you're... I don't know, like, you instead of spending this time building up its own, scenes
narrative
for this movie,
and plot, yeah.
You're just gonna show us,
Yeah. And here's the thing, where the hell were they getting that footage from? Like,
through their time-traveling Videotron. It's magic.
and these films kind of start to feel almost like old comic serials, you know what I mean? Had a very kind of a villain of the week feel to it. Which, again, I mean... Again, the irony is, despite all of this... Jesus. It's like how it's on my dad used to grab me
I'm like,
by the back of the neck.
Why does that matter? What is it? Let's run towards it.
I know, right? But yeah, no, I mean, again, this film has kind of become a bit synonymous with the fact that it has no real budget. And it's obvious. And I think Dai was just trying to, just like, what, let's ride this wave of success that, Toho has with Godzilla. And I know we keep bringing up Toho and Godzilla, and I realize...
It's inevitable.
But it is. Well, because, again, these films are basically created to kind of siphon off their success, I feel, rather than kind of generate their own. And I know that sounds like I'm being really unfair, and I don't say that just to be...
Just, why are you running towards it?
Yeah.
Ah!
But again...
Oh, no!
Oh, no!
It's almost like you were asking for it, but not. His head just bust through.
I know. But yeah, again, it's one thing if you want to make a film more for kids, that's fine. When you watch stuff like Son of Godzilla, like we did last week, very much a kid-friendly film, but it was a lot of fun. It was cool. This feels like it's trying to ride that wave. It's like, hey, remember that really great Godzilla movie you guys saw, a few months back? What until Toho releases another one, kind of whet your appetite a little bit with this. And that's kind of what these films, unfortunately, not only feel like, but I feel what they ultimately became was more just like kind of placeholders or fillers until the next Godzilla film.
I forget. Like, it's been a while since we've watched this one. Do we ever actually see any aliens on this ship, or is that always just a voice? I can't remember.
I believe you will see that. Again, yeah, it's been a minute since we watched this one. But yeah, no, but yeah, and again, you're not going to see much of them too, because again, budget. They can't really. Now, granted, Toho's aliens were always just weird dudes in outfits. They weren't really look like aliens.
Yeah. Well, just the fact that we haven't seen them yet, we just kept seeing like the video thing or whatever, the hologram on the wall.
Kaleidoscope. That is a jacked up looking Protoceratops.
I was gonna say, what's wrong with that skeleton? But
as he shakes and beats that poor girl. Looks terrifying.
Yeah. I like how that's just his nude mode of transport.
Again, though, that effect was done a lot better early on.
Mm-hmm.
I know, Gamera still, still has that scrappy attitude, though. That's the only thing I liked about Gamera, though. He was always scrappy. It always kind of felt like an underdog fighter, which was kind of cool, because Godzilla was kind of felt like the kind of the alpha supreme. I guess that would mean Godzilla would have been Apollo and Gamera would have been Rocky, even though I think Godzilla would take that fight.
Generic dude 1.
So kind of following the Toho approach to aliens, although they are going to do something cool with them in a minute. Here you'll see it's kind of creepy. I don't know, so it's kind of cool though. These films, aliens were always basically like humans or humanoid things, just acting very kind of strange. Which you could always make the argument though it's behavior that really can make someone feel alien.
I'm uncomfortable.
That's a nifty hat, dude. A lot of nifty hats in this movie.
I know, right?
A lot of nifty hats in this scene.
That was the theme for this Gamera movie. They're like, listen, guys, we don't really care about Gamera so much as the hats.
The hats. It's all about the hats. I'm surprised Gamera doesn't have a hat. Give him like a little beret or something.
That looks pretty fun.
Ah ha 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 ha. It didn't work for you.
Second kid just didn't even try. He
I
just
know.
kind of just fell. He didn't even leap at all.
He just kind of kneeled aggressively.
I think he just tripped and tried to pass it off like he tried.
So how is it that we have like really cool like wristband communicators? Yeah, that kid's camera.
I know.
It's like a
Could
freaking
murder a man with it.
Yeah, it was like a freaking lunchbox around his neck. Granted, I know I guess it's period appropriate, but still, I'm just saying. You got wristband communicators. You can slim that shit down. Oh, this whole room just looks like a really awesome McDonald's play place.
Mm. This is my treasure. They just look like they're like renegade nurses or something. Like, you know what I mean? It looks like fancy nurse scrubs they're wearing.
These are the nurses who refuse to take the Hippocratic Oath.
They're the hypocrite nurses.
Oh.
He's like, I'll just move into the line of fire easier here.
See, I've never understood why when they always do those wide shots, like, I get it, the actor has to crawl on their hands and knees because, you know, that's realistically the only way they can really move, but it's always like, hide either the back.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like a lot with, like, Anguirus, a lot of times his back section of his body will be blocked by something so they don't have to show it. Whereas, well, in these wide shots, sometimes they would kind of get the actor standing up on all fours just for a minute, just to kind of, you know, get the shot to establish that, yes, it's on all fours. So when they do it here, I'm like, oh, don't leave him on his knees. That's why would Gamera be walking his back legs unless they're, like, broken?
I know, right?
It just looks like someone took a...
See? Fancy hat.
There you go, it's fancy. And again, not the first time we've seen aliens come to Earth and take control of kaiju. You know what I mean? Toho already did it. So that's what I'm saying. I know it seems maybe cheap on our part to keep comparing them, but I mean, it's very obvious at this point Dai was really just saying, okay.
Well, that worked for Godzilla, so...
Yeah, I mean, you have aliens coming to Earth, mind controlling the tidal monster, you know, it's not putting a big budget behind it, you know, focusing heavily on children. I mean, they were watching what was working well for Toho, and they tried it themselves, but again, unfortunately, they did it more as kind of imitation with, you know, expending the least amount of expense, basically.
Good thing none of these people pay attention to anything going on around them.
I know.
Or do they?
Or do they? Again, it is what it is. I mean, these films are classics in their own right, yes, but I feel classics more or less because they are Gamera movies rather than because they really put forth something on their own. And again, that would all change in the 90s. When we get to those commentaries, all we'll be doing is singing their praises.
Mm.
But...
Oh my god!
But you already made it on the flying saucer, so why do you need to drink the special suicide punch now?
I know, right?
Like, you guys made it.
Well, let's find out.
Like, what? Like, why would you... See, even as a kid, for me, I was like, where I grew up, I was like, you would never just do that. Like, we weren't even allowed to walk on the side of the road because kids would get snatched up.
That bread looks like foam. I don't know if I would have eaten it. Well, I wouldn't have anyways because it's a mystery sandwich, but... That'd be like if you walked into a random bathroom and just found food and just picked it up and ate it. I'm like, why would you do that?
Maybe these kids would have. What, there's a porterhouse in this toilet? Hell yeah.
It's the nurses! Looks like they're gonna break out into song. Oh, I forgot about their creepy eyes.
It's a cool effect.
Yeah, it's fucking weird.
Again, the idea of, like, we need these kids to do this thing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's...
And I'm like, why would you let them wander around?
Whoa, where'd those come from?
I guess they had them before, but they kept them in their silhouettes. We don't have to answer your questions.
They're like, I plead the fifth. Some of these kids feel like they have like full run of the ship, really. They're like not even like kept as prisoners. They're just.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, you're just gonna let them run around?
But you see, again, I feel like it's placating more to like kids, really, than like marketing towards them, because it's almost like, even as a kid, I want to feel, if I'm going to root for these kids, I want to feel like they're like in legit peril, so they can like, when they, emerge from it victorious, it feels like some kind of success. Basically, this whole ship is catered, designed to obey them. Like, what point or purpose would there be in that? You know what I mean? Other than just convenience. I don't know. I sometimes feel like, obviously adults underestimate, the cognitive reasoning capabilities of children, I guess, because I'm just kind of like, I've seen Saturday morning cartoons that had more,
Is that a fucking bomb? Or something?
It's like a giant salt shaker.
I'm like, why are you hiding?
I know, but it's like, it's the weird...
They already told you, like, we don't give a shit about you. You can't do anything bad, basically.
That's my point. Like, they're just there now. It's like...
I mean, I guess if you're afraid of them, yeah, I guess I'd do the same, but...
But again, it's almost like...
Time to churn some butter.
They're space Amish. Well, they have some text, I guess, Mennonite. I don't know, like... Hey, if there are any Amish or Mennonites listening to this commentary while watching Gamera versus Viras, could you guys clear something up for us? I'd imagine the Amish are big Gamera fans.
Where'd the space butter go? Oh.
Oh no.
Oh.
Well, they are in the Boy Scouts, so it would be the first
time.
time. Hey-o!
No!
Does anybody else smell Cthulhu in the room?
Gross. Okay, so here's my thing. Like, why is this thing on their ship?
You don't remember?
Mm-mm.
It's their fearless leader. It's Viras. Viras, no like. Those are mean, grumpy eyes.
Why is it in a cage? I really don't remember much about this movie, obviously, here, so...
Well, it's whenever we watch Gamera, and we watch Gamera, we automatically watch the 3 from the 90s.
I know. Because they're the best ones.
Yeah. I love how, like, they're just not impressed. Oh, it's just a monster. But then again, look how unafraid they were of Gamera. You know what I mean? This giant monster. This is like a weird, like... parrot-faced tentacle thing. It's kind of like... Yeah, it's, yeah. Again, it's just not much to really say about it. It is kind of what it is. It's
such a funny design.
But
Clearly, it must open by
what now?
telepathy.
Wait, what does it open up by again? Clearly, it must open up by telepathy. Wow.
I can't
All right.
even, guys. I'm sorry. I don't even have an excuse anymore.
Probably the production budget of this commentary has shit the bed as well.
Plummeted. Maybe we should just take clips from our last
Just drop them in.
throw 'em in. Oh my god. I love how they do that. Like, "Alloop."
It'd be kind of fitting, though, too. We should be like,
know,
well...
right? Just literally take the 15 minutes of those flashback scenes, take our commentary from those fights, and throw 'em in here.
Hey, they're using scenes from better movies. We should just take parts from better commentary and put them in. When in Rome.
Saddest game of tug of war ever.
Oh.
Womp womp.
Kids movies.
The fact that they, like, did the bone and everything, too. I guess it's more realistic, but in terms of, for a kids movie, it's freaky.
Well, again, some of the imagery in this movie is it's pretty creepy as hell. Yeah, it's just funny. That was always the weird thing about these movies. It was that, okay, these are kids movies, yet they have very kind of stark and violent and adult kind of imagery to them.
You're all tied up. What you gonna do now, kiddies?
Again, they're in the Boy Scouts, so something tells me this is not the first time they found themselves in their personal lives like this.
It's terrible.
Yeah, it is terrible. So I don't. So I know. I'm glad I never got pushed in the Boy Scouts.
From now on, the Bumblebee Ball Ship.
The Bumblebee Ball Ship. You heard it here, folks.
Or Bumbleballs, maybe. I don't know.
And here we have some more stock footage.
Oh yeah.
Yep. This is also from a Gamera vs. Baragon.
But is this supposed to be stock stuff, or are they supposed to be thinking this is happening now?
They think this is happening now, because now the aliens have Gamera under their control.
Yeah. So that's a convenient way of showing more stuff.
Yeah, so they're showing Gamera now being bad. Back in the movies when he was doing bad things.
His rebellious teenage years.
Apparently. So we can just, drop in the
right?
commentary track now from this clip.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess refer to Gamera versus Baragon for this part. Again, that also makes these films kind of hard sometimes to do commentary for, because a lot of it is a retread. A lot of this is... The really good parts are the parts we've seen before. You know what I mean? And the new stuff is kind of just like, oh. You know what I mean? The only time Toho really became really guilty of this was in Godzilla's Revenge. Which, with the exception of a few new scenes, it was mostly like, stock footage sequences. But again, what that movie gets panned a lot for, Dai did it a lot, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get entire sequences lifted, and you haven't even seen the worst yet. And the Gamera Super Monster is by far the most egregious example of this.
I'm just like, I guess I just don't understand why they bothered doing it. I'm like, are you guys just really that low a budget where you can't...
Again, I'm sure there are people out there who know for sure. I don't pretend to be one of them, but I'm not sure. I wonder, was it a case that they just couldn't afford it, or they just didn't want to?
Like, why not just save up your money and make an all-new movie?
Because they needed to. Because Toho was cranking out Godzilla films. That's really what it comes down to, is that Toho was cranking these out, and they needed to compete, so they had to constantly keep churning out a product of their own. Unfortunately, they either couldn't or weren't going to match, the visuals that Toho was putting out there. So I don't know. It is, like I said, it is what it is.
Good thing this works up in the atmosphere.
Well, I think they're still on Earth, technically.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they kind of showed you the ship following Gamera around.
Just like, how do you guys, like, you're clearly able to just slip out of there. Why not just do that?
That's not how the game works.
Time to turn some more butter.
I was also gonna say too, if you notice, another way they're saving money, they're not building a lot of miniature sets where you would. There's only a lot of times in kaiju films, obviously, you see the kaiju wreaking havoc on a city in one way or another. I mean, not all of them, but a lot of times there's a sequence where the only real sequence like that we've seen in this movie again was stock footage. So really, most of this movie is kind of a 3-set location. You have, and here's now the film is in black and white.
Yep.
Because we're borrowing stuff from the first film.
I'm just like, really, guys?
It looks like they try to color treat it a little bit.
I was gonna say, it looks like they put a small filter over it almost.
Yeah, but and again, that's the thing, It's like, okay, how do you explain that it's in black and white all of a sudden? It's like...
Yeah.
I don't know. Not all kaiju films are created equal, folks, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it's a sad reality, but... And it's weird, too, because these films weren't that long ago. I mean, this is only the 4th film in.
Yeah.
So it's not like, it's 10 or more movies back. For better or for worse, you could argue it's been a while. So it wasn't that long ago we've seen all this.
See, at least here, it makes a little more sense. Like, okay, so you guys got a weird filter on it.
Yeah,
you're watching it in the thing.
But I don't know. It's one of those things where even though the story itself is kind of a retrace, because again, Toho already did it, at the very least they would have shot some new sequences. It's like, okay, but it's now we just kind of get to see what it'd be like if it happened in a Gamera movie. But again, all the best stuff is just reused material, so it's just kind of... So if you like Gamera, it just kind of feels a bit like a cop-out, because, if you're a Gamera fan, you want to see Gamera doing... you want to see a new material from him. I mean, it just kind of feels like this is a greatest hits, basically.
Yeah. Well, I'm like, you guys clearly... I mean, I don't know if they made this suit, but they have a suit. I'm like, so you could have shot some new stuff, but... Unless it's literally just they didn't want to make the miniatures, I guess, like you said.
Well, again, it's expensive. I mean, it costs money. So again, I'm more curious to know, was it a case of not wanting to or not being able to?
Yeah.
And I know that Dai had to file for bankruptcy. So it could very well just be a situation of them not having the money, because obviously they were having some financial difficulties, so... But then again, you could also make the argument, too, that...
Why make a movie?
Well, that or one really good movie...
Versus, yeah.
Yeah, might have turned it around for them.
Ginger in a bright blue outfit.
I know.
How much more can we make this woman stand out? Fuck the kids.
It's weird, we're only just now really seeing, like, the military kind of...
Step up.
Yeah. It almost feels like a different movie right here.
Mm-hmm.
Now you don't really think about it, but now that suddenly you see all these adults standing around and talking, like, as adults, it almost feels like we've jumped to a different film.
Well, it's convenient that you can do that without having, like, the watch there.
I love how apparently the only direction that woman in the blue dress got was just to stare intently right in front of her.
I know. Seriously, like, you can totally tell you guys aren't trapped, actually.
Nope, there you go.
You could have just done that the whole time. Oh, that was so difficult.
Again, I'm like, why not have technologies just to put them in a cell or contain them?
I know.
They did a weird, like, strappy thing to the wall, which, now that I say it out loud, man, those kids really need to get off that ship.
Yeah, they were just trying to get ready for the alien. What happened there? Wow.
But see, I love how these kids are like, again, I mean, hey, it's kind of noble of them that they do that, but it's like, kids movie, sacrifice us, destroy the ship, we're ready to die, kind of thing. It's like, whoa.
God damn it! That clearly makes sense.
I love that. Yeah, the United Nations have decided the lives of 2 boys are not worth the rest of the world. Again, and then it turns over to, again, like a kids movie like that, where tonally it felt more realistic when the kids were like, yeah, well, we gotta die because, it's the right thing to do. The United Nations.
I was gonna say, the kid's just like, are you guys fucking stupid?
That's the thing. They wouldn't even ask them. The United Nations would just have launched a few ICBMs and just blown that ship out of the sky. They wouldn't have asked anybody. Like, again, I feel that, people say, well, it's a kid's movie. How do you can't just have them blow up the ship, to which I say, yes, blow up the ship. But because again, it's you can't sacrifice the kids. But then I would say, don't write a story where you have to put them in that position. Write a story where they're not in a predicament where you would have to kind of make the unrealistic decision to let them live. Because the reality is, no, they would not be allowed to live. They would shoot that ship down, their lives be damned, basically. I mean, when you think about it, do you think we would surrender to a hostile alien invasion because of we would not. And I know people are saying we're judging this film too harshly, but I'm like, even Toho did not create scenarios with kids where we would have to make that decision. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if you make the right decision, it's no longer a kid's movie. If you make the wrong decision, it's now unrealistic because it's a kid's movie. So just avoid that kind of premise altogether. But again, I think Dai wanted to prove that they could...
Why would they believe him?
Again, I think Dai figured they could cornerstone the kids' market more because, And again, you could argue it was worth a shot. I mean... It's all they really had going for them, I hate to say it, at this point. I feel the first 2 Gamera films were worthy contenders, but...
Clearly, it's as simple as that. How do you know it's a spaceship? Well, you didn't get out, you big silly.
Whoa.
Are we gonna play darts? Space darts.
Space darts. I love the base of their technology is to move around big colored blocks.
I know.
See, I complain about the stock footage, and then I see stuff, and I am watching these scenes. I'm like, can we get back some stock footage, please?
I know.
Can we harken back to days of better Gamera movies? Oh. So.
It's just that easy. Back onto the beach. And in the same exact spot, too. Sweet.
How did they escape? How do they slip our grasp after the implementation of so many, you know...
How did these two children outsmart our entire species?
Which is like, what, 10 guys in scrubs?
Yes. And the actual tentacle one. I just don't want it today.
That's creepy. That'd be so creepy or scary seeing that just come out of the mouth.
I know.
Gamera looks like a big angry dog. Boom. I want to say here's Johnny, but I'm not going to. This movie doesn't deserve that. Here, have some murder.
Jesus. You guys already said that.
Whoa.
Such a dumb design. Get those bumblebee balls out of here.
The very least, now we're seeing some original footage.
I know.
But again, I think this is where the majority of their budget went, was basically they put it all in an end action sequence.
Yeah.
But it really kind of shows you how little they were working with. I gotta say, though, I do like the way they do Gamera's eye.
Mm-hmm.
I love the little bit of detail they do. It's not just the solid, like, white.
Yeah.
All the budget went to Gamera's eye.
Clearly, let's go back to the spaceship. It's not a terrible idea at all. You can understand alien languages. Kids movie.
I was gonna say.
Yikes.
That's kind of a cool shot, though. It's creepy. I like that. Again, when it forgets to be a kids movie, the movie actually kind of comes off as kind of cool. Again, I wish they would have just like, I mean, you can have kids in it, but I think they should have still not let it play out necessarily like a kids movie. But because I do like the idea behind this kind of stuff here.
Mm-hmm. We only have one suit, so we need to composite that shit. Yeah. That's a thing. I guess my biggest issue, like, I get what they're trying to do by getting rid of the humanoid design, but you can clearly see the two legs that are the human legs.
Yeah, at least they tried.
I guess.
And now we're going to get our,
So the most important question is, do you want to cosplay that?
no.
You want to be a giant tentacle man with a beak?
Viras, I don't think I can pull Viras off. I don't like that thing coming at me.
The new, like, cosplay hit of 2017.
I don't think so.
You see all the sexy girls doing this outfit?
I don't know. I hear what you're saying, and I don't think it's going to happen.
But maybe it should. Even Gamera's like, dude, no. See, he's glittery, too.
So now we're going to get our big fight. This is what the movie's been promising. This is going to be the...
Fight.
This is where the budget went to. That's not even... I'm not even joking that this is what it went to. I mean, that's why we got stock footage, because this is essentially all they could afford.
Gamera's like, God, so rude. Blowing that shit up in my face. Yes, children, tell Gamera how to fight. He would never know without you.
Again, it's unrealistic, because even as a kid, I would not want to stand right here. I remember seeing two moms in our neighborhood one time get into like a fist fight, and we ran away because it scared the shit out of us. And now I'm seeing this.
All I'm saying is, I think Gamera wants some deep fried squid for lunch.
I'd go for that. See, again, this works well when they don't show his back legs and they don't show the actor on his knees. Oh.
Oh, God.
I'm trying to figure out what this suit is made out of.
It looks like foam of some sort. Like the way it wrinkles and stuff. He's turned into a giant tentacly butt plug.
Oh, that which we mined from these movies.
Oh, he's not a butt plug anymore. He came apart. Oh my god.
He's a lot bigger than Gamera, though, I gotta say.
Yeah.
I like the concept behind his design. I just wish it would have been executed better.
Yeah. Not to mention, like, the fact that he's just flat, like, silvery is just kind of like, oh. Just silvery.
Just silvery.
Shut up, kids, unless you're gonna fight him.
Here's the thing, though. They were that close. I mean, the ground would be shaking.
Oh, I know.
There'd be debris everywhere. It's like... Oh.
This is where the sexual stuff happens.
This is where it stops being a kid's movie.
Where the dojins start. Oh.
Viras has the power to throw things in slow motion.
I was just thinking that. Time for a butt plug. Butt plug.
Okay, here's my question. Why did the white kid say that in English but with a
I
Japanese
know.
accent? Oh.
Foiled again. He's like, raising the roof.
Oh.
Look at his little arm.
That actually was done really well, that shot of
I
him
know.
swimming. It's actually not that bad of an effect the way they do it. That's where the budget went. A shot of Gamera swimming.
Even though I'm like, dude, why don't you be using your back legs all like jet-like? It's a really good glove. He's riding him like a dolphin.
Gamera just rises up, starts surfing on him.
This music.
This whole sequence right here. I don't think they'd be able to keep up.
I know.
I love Gamera's battling this evil alien invader, and the kids are just running along. It's like, where's the military? Where are the adults here? Like,
I know.
where are the people who pay taxes? That's what I want to know. Oh!
Well, shit. And that was the end of Gamera. No, I'm just kidding. It's like, let's come play some more.
Ooh!
And there you go. I don't think that'll help Gamera.
Again, that's my point. Kids movie, but like,
I know.
these fights get brutal.
Why'd you stop cheering, kids? That's not how sex works. Seriously, though, that would actually be really fucking terrible. It's weird they... Oh, I was gonna say.
Yeah, it's So they're that close to him
I
right now.
know. Yeah, use your jets while we're right here. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I don't think that ducking would be enough.
Oh my god.
Yes, folks, this is really happening.
Gamera, how aren't you dead? It's the power of the children that keeps them alive. Is he having a seizure? That was a
He's
pretty
freezing.
mild one. Oh, okay.
Granted, it's kind of a clever way of doing it, but...
But then I'm like, Gamera, why don't you freeze? You're susceptible to freezing too.
Well, we saw him go in space. Yeah, that's the weird thing. We saw him fly in space,
Well, that's
yet
my point.
Barugon was able to freeze him. Or am I believe that Barugon's breath is colder than the vacuum of space?
Maybe.
Apparently.
I guess.
So this isn't bothering him. Oh.
I will go down with the ship.
Granted, this whole sequence is kind of epic, I have to admit it.
Yeah.
The only thing that's holding it back is kind of its budgetary constraints, but otherwise, I like how what they're staging here is actually really kind of epic.
Yeah.
Too bad it's with a big sock puppet styrofoam squid thing, but
I know. That's why I'm like, if the design was cooler.
yeah. So you should have hit the land and like broke it up into a million pieces.
I know. Instead, you're just gonna like unthaw them in the ocean.
Well, thankfully, that's a sequel we never got.
Right? Hey, look who decided to show up. Everyone!
Yeah, everyone. Including, like, the Boy Scouts.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why are the Boy Scouts here and not the military? Oh, so funny. You almost died, and so did Gamera, and everybody almost died on Earth, but let's joke. We got jokes.
We got jokes.
And Gamera's just fine with being stabbed through the stomach, apparently.
Yep,
just,
hey.
no big deal.
Fly it off, it's fine.
God damn it. These movies sometimes.
Yeah, oh, we're not done with these movies yet.
I know.
Strap in, folks.
He's going on a spa retreat
But, yep.
to fill the gaping hole in himself.
Yeah. I feel like I've got a gaping hole in me now. Well, folks, that's going to do it for this one. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace!
Peace.